Hi, it's Anne-Marie from Charmed Life Therapy again. Please do hit that like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. It's a rather eclectic mix over here based on my own experiences growing up with anxiety and depression and things like school phobia and brief dalliances with anorexia. So I talk about my own experiences, I talk about the work that I do, which is rapid transformational therapy and other forms of hypnotherapy. And I also talk about the belief systems I've adopted for myself, if you like, the things that I believe in, things like A Course in Miracles, which I practice now. I'm on my first year of doing that, about halfway through, but also things like the law of attraction and a bit of spirituality of other kinds too, because what I'm coming to believe more and more is true about this life is that no matter what you believe or what appeals to you, basically if you want to change your life, it all boils down to changing the thoughts that you have in your mind. So it's about subconscious mind reprogramming. So kind of what I wanted to talk about today was about the importance of doing that and practicing what you preach, because a lot of people tend to adopt something like A Course in Miracles or like a religion or whatever you want to call it, and do it kind of by rote. They do it in the moment and they believe it all, they get it, they're on board with it, but then they go off and live the rest of the day apart from that. Or they can sustain it while they're in the moment of doing it, but then they go off for the rest of the day and ego mind kicks in and ego mind is running the show. Meanwhile, they're still telling themselves that they're following A Course in Miracles, the religion, whatever spiritual ethos it is. So why people fall apart in this world is that ego takes control of you, and you're not living your life in that conscious awareness. You're letting kind of your mind run itself and wander off and follow ego, and you're telling yourself one thing but you're actually doing another. So that is why it's important to do work like rapid transformational therapy and find out what's driving your fears, your anxieties, your phobias, whatever it is, and get some of that on board. But then on top of that, you absolutely need to have some form of daily program of some kind that you're doing, something you either adopt that gels with you, or something that you create for yourself from a mixture of things. But you need to be actively programming your mind with the right things every day. And when I say that, I mean as much as possible. You know, it has to be at least, I would say, I think Abraham Hicks that says it's so many seconds you have to switch up your thoughts or something like that. For me, and I know somebody who's had decades of trauma and going down rabbit holes and the rest of it, for me, I need to put a lot of effort into it every day, because what happened to me and the length of time it ran for, it was very strong subconscious programming. So it does take some effort to overthrow that. And sometimes kind of where people fall down is they'll do, you know, significant work on themselves and make significant improvements, but then still allow some of these human mind things to interfere. It's like we get very hung up. You know, if your existence right now is based off of fear or anxiety or illness or whatever it is, and you'll kind of tell yourself, well, you know, you'll do something proactive for a couple of days or a week or a month or whatever, and then you'll tell yourself that thing didn't work because I didn't see the rewards, nothing changed, nothing happened. But the thing is, it takes a while for results to show up. It's same as people saying, oh, I really want to do such and such, but I don't have the motivation to do it, as if motivation is a gift that people either have or don't have. Motivation doesn't come first, just like results don't come first. You have to put the work in, and where people fall down in, you know, law of attraction and things like that, the forgetting that there's kind of well, probably more than two parts to it, but you have to live your daily existence as if you already have the thing, whatever it is that you want to manifest. So you have to generate those feelings even when there's no evidence of it. You have to really lean into visualizing and getting clear in your mind and leaning into your feelings and thinking, what would that feel like if it was already here? And then you have to realize that your mind goes off and finds ways to start making that happen. It's not even necessarily woo-woo or out there. It's literally coming from your mind. You are the creator of your own existence, and then life reflects it back to you. But it literally is going on in your mind. So it's important that you're on board with that, that you believe that it is available to you, that anything is available to you if you want it, including like health and the rest of it. But then you have to suspend that disbelief and wait for the elements to come into play behind the scenes and actually show up. And many people find it really hard to do that, to suspend that disbelief and that ego mind that tells you you're never going to have it, it's never going to come, and all the rest of it. You know, sometimes I've really done excellent work with people, and then I've heard down the line about things that they're getting fixated on, and I think, oh, it's just such a human mind problem that does not exist unless you make it exist. You know, that is the ego problem, is that it'll look for something that will cause consternation, if you like, that will cause worry, that will cause a bit of who's right and who's wrong. And if you're not on it in your day-to-day life and actively identifying that when it is happening, then you will go off down a rabbit hole. You know, you'll focus on what is wrong in your life. You'll focus on what is not showing up. And when you focus on what is not showing up in your life, then you get more of it. The more effort you put into thinking about something, then the more real, if you like, it shows up in your life. So if all of your life is fixated on what's wrong with your skin, what's wrong with your gut, what's wrong with your health, your aches and pains, everything that's wrong, you will get more of it, because your mind will think, this person likes this, they want more of it. This is what their ideal is. This is what they're telling themselves they are. This is what they're telling themselves is available to them. And that's why you get more and more of it. These patterns, these habits feed on themselves and they escalate. That's the way it works. That's why you need some kind of process in place that's going to keep you personally accountable, that's going to keep you realizing that if you don't like what is going on in your life, then there's the one place where it starts is in your mind. And that comes down to what relationships you find yourself stuck in, what jobs you tell yourself you're stuck in, what situations you tell yourself you're stuck in, even what has happened to you. Because even if you've had like something catastrophic happen in your life, you get to choose how you deal with that. You get to choose how much it affects your life. You know, you get to choose whether you can draw something positive from that experience and generate something healthy that you can put out into this world that might help somebody else. It's all in how you choose to perceive it in your mind. So the only kind of frustrations I experience as a practitioner, and I hold myself accountable, I experience my own frustrations with myself when I allow my mind to do a number on me, you know what I mean? Well, not in my mind, let's call it my ego, because that's more truthfully what it is. It's the ego for sure. So, but that is my only frustration as a practitioner, that you can do really, really good work with somebody and then they'll go off and do a really stupid egoic behavior. And I will tell people and I'll make it clear to them, you know, what the responsibility is on them if they want to progress from where they are right now. And it is about catching yourself all the time in where you are allowing your thoughts to go. And, you know, for me, sometimes there's been times when I've been really trying to help people, not in like my professional way, but like in a personal way, But giving them advice based on what I know and what I've learned from my own experience is trying to be helpful. And they will throw up roadblocks and they will invent things that are not real, or they'll invent problems that are insurmountable and refuse to believe that all of that is actually just stories that you are telling yourself. You know, we are limitless. We are whole and complete. We are entirely capable of having the lives that we want. And if we don't have them right now, then we have to look at what we're thinking. That is as simple as it gets, really, because if life isn't looking like you're wanting it to look like, then you have to look like, what am I thinking? And if I'm thinking that, then what does that allow maybe other people to do to me? What does it allow me to believe about my situation if I insist on thinking like that? Is this helpful to me? What would changing my thinking on this issue do? Would I suddenly find a bit of wiggle room? Would I find a way around it? Would a different opportunity present itself if I looked at it in a different way? And you have to look at it in all aspects of your life. You can't cherry pick. Look at it in terms of your finances, your career, your love life, your living situation, your friendships, your relationships, everything across the board. You have to apply it to everything and really look for what is true and what is simply a story that you are telling yourself that is keeping you stuck. And the thing is to remember is that thing of your subconscious mind will look for ways in which to keep you safe. So if you're telling yourself that something is threatening or impossible, your subconscious mind will kind of protect you from having to deal with that. So that will in itself throw up more problems, more roadblocks. So you've got to live your life realizing that your subconscious mind is awake and tuned in all times of the day and night. So you are basically like a computer processor and you are being programmed all the time with stuff, and you are reprogramming, rewiring yourself all of the time in what you allow to run through your mind. So if you are focusing on really negative things or you're investing energy into an illness, a sickness, a problem, a narcissistic relationship, an abusive relationship, if you are investing all of your thought, all of your time, all of your energy, or at least considerable chunks of it, into that thinking, you are literally rewiring your mind with that to expect more of it, to attract more of it, to think that this is all the only thing that is available to you and this is your lot in life. You know, we do get hung up on some really weird stuff as human beings. We get really invested in this who's right and who's wrong and why can't they understand and why can't they be different and if only they would, or what, you know what I mean? And it's just all stories. It's all trying to generate a problem or invest in a problem and make the problem bigger, because if you can do all of that, you can turn around and say to other people, look, you know, I never had a choice. It was never going to be any better. Life can never be any different. I shouldn't try. You know, I'll never have. This isn't available to me. I'm not good enough. Other people can have it and I don't. And all of that is just a story. And why I like things like A Course in Miracles and Law of Attraction is it keeps reminding you that you are the one in control, not these outside entities and other people and life itself and source and all of it that's got it in for you. Nobody has got it in for you except what you allow to be in your stratosphere, if you like. You know, we get lost in these relationships where we kind of like that angst, that back and forth. I was saying to a friend recently about a relationship she was considering starting that's kind of long distance and had a lot of drawbacks and things that would make it difficult. And I said to her, and she'll happily admit it, I think, I said, well, I would only get into this if you're going to enjoy the teenage angst of it all, and the push and the pull and the willy won't he and all of that. I would only go into this relationship if that is what you're willing to accept, because that's where it's going to be. Because you're never going to feel safe or secure. It's always going to be a bit out in the ether and intangible. Now, if that's going to make you happy, like living like a teenager and having that angsty feeling, then sure, go for it. But if you're actually not going to get a lot of joy out of that, and you're going to feel quite lonely and quite resentful that they're not in touch when they say they should be in touch, or they're not making enough effort, then why would you do it to yourself? Why would you start it in the first place? Only a sense out of desperation, out of just wanting anybody, you know, to just say that you can have somebody, to feel like you're not on your own. And sometimes we have to sit on our own in this life and just believe that better is coming to us, and think about what that person will feel like to be with, and really imagine what that person holding you would be like, what it would feel like to be walking down the street with that person and holding their hand, to have them in your home, and, you know, planning, making space for their clothes in your wardrobe, and what would you do together, and what would you feel like, and what would you dress like, and what does he look like, or he, or whoever, you know what I mean? If you want to invest your headspace in something, invest it in that, invest it in your own God-given powers of manifestation and creation. And basically, it is not woo-woo, it is literally your mind. It's a very real thing. It's as real as your mind is, you know. It boils down to getting away from this idea that you're just a body, and getting invested in bodily problems like illness and pain and not available to me, and needing to look a different way in order to have something, or have a different level of intelligence in order to have everything that you want and need in life. Get away from identifying with your body so much. This is what's important, what's going on in here, because the thing is, the more you tell yourself good stuff and feel good about yourself in your mind, it will show up in your body, and you will start to see yourself a different way, and you will start to see what's available to you a different way. So I can't bang into you hard enough how important it is where you are allowing your mind to wander to at any given time of the day. Because always bear in mind that what you allow headspace and mind space, you are giving energy to, and you are rewiring and programming that into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind can do anything. So if you're programming it with all of this negative stuff, and all of this pain, and all of this suffering, and all of this rejection, and all of this frustration, that is 100% absolutely what's going to show up in your life. And if you hang on to things like grief, guilt, fear, pain, rejection, all of that, it will show up and manifest as physical illness in your body, because your body's like this great big communication device. That's literally what it is. So it will just flag up whatever's going on in your head. It will manifest in your body. So bear in mind all the time that you are this creator of your own existence. So if you don't like what's going on, you need to take your attention off whatever you're currently giving it to, and giving it to something better. And you need to sit down and have a really good think about that, and consider maybe investing in having rapid transformational therapy with somebody like me, but definitely coming up with some practices of your own that you can spend time on throughout the day, in the conscious knowledge that you are going to sit down and program your mind with some good stuff. As part of RTT, you have a recording that you listen to every day for 3 weeks, so it's a really good way of tackling it. Not only do we resolve kind of the source issue, if you like, we'd send you off with this recording that you reprogram yourself with every day for at least 3 weeks. So it's really powerful work, and it's a good way of kickstarting and manifesting real change in your life, and getting you to be more self-aware of what's going on in your mind at all times, and what you are telling yourself all of the time, and where you are letting your ego run the show. And remember, your ego is not truly you. It's just it's just your collection of fears and anxieties and pain and negative experiences, and it's just trying to tell you there's always somebody that's right, there's always somebody that's wrong, there's bad, there's good, there's threat, there's pain, there's, you know, don't put yourself out there, don't do this, don't do that, you never know what will happen to you, this will happen if you do that. And yeah, we like it when we're not friends with this person, we like it when we judge this person, because if they're wrong, that must mean we're right. That is what your ego likes, and your ego is not you. Your ego is the little bigot inside, the little racist inside. It's a sum total of probably generations and generations of fear of what is unfamiliar. That's what your ego is basically. So that's not what you want to be listening to if you want to generate the life of your dreams. So that is my message to you today. And again, it's why I like things like the law of attraction, like A Course in Miracles, like hypnotherapy, because it's all about transforming the way you think. It's all about, what are you programming your subconscious mind? What are you allowing yourself to believe about yourself and your prospects? You know, and it is about, in this current moment right now, you need to be thinking the best thoughts possible if you want to attract the life of your dreams and make it reality. But you do have to keep the faith and give it chance to show up. It's a daily thing that you need to be doing. There's never any time off. And this is why people fall down, because they get bored of things, or they get tired of things, or rewards don't show up fast enough, and that's the ego. The ego doesn't like it that there's not this instant payoff. You have to have patience, and you have to have faith in whatever it is, and you have to believe, and you have to lean into the feelings of what it's like to already have that, even when there's no evidence of it. So it is a real challenge to the human psyche. But that's my important message to you today. If you'd like to consider having rapid transformational therapy with me, you can always book a free intro call. All the links will be in the description below. I have the free Limitless Life recording as well, and a Facebook group where you can access a trauma and anxiety workshop and try out hypnotherapy for free. There's a blog over on my website. There's all sorts of free help that I offer, and you can always either drop me a comment below or reach out to me at anna@charmedlivetherapy.co.uk. Thank you for watching and staying to the end. Please do hit that like, subscribe and share if you think somebody could benefit from this today, and I will see you again soon. Thank you.